this week then, Denise. Did you come up for this workshop?
I came up to see Cheryl on her panel and hear some of the panelists, and then just to see the show, because I know there's 4 different, I think, shows going on at the same time, 26,000 individuals. So
there's a lot of
I just
people
wanted to really see what it was like. And
Denise just joined IRUM September of 2017, so we're helping her sort of understand the world of real estate and around the world.
Are both of you married?
Yes.
So you both travel, and you're going to be traveling a ton. All right, do husbands come along? Wives, husbands,
when we allow them.
Okay. Because you must travel a holy smokes amount.
I travel, a fair amount. I do, and it's escalating a bit more.
Ray comes along.
Rick comes along.
You'd have to, right? I mean, now that you're president, do you follow the coattails of the president to make sure they're so?
She's my handler.
I'm their handler.
Yeah, I got you.
Yes.
I
call her. She's my handler.
Everybody needs one.
Everybody.
You know what? What's been interesting? You say that. I had to go to Brazil a couple of years, I guess about 4 years back, with the Institute of Real Estate Management to a show in Sao Paulo. And I had never been to Brazil. I'd read all kinds of stories. And if you've never been to Sao Paulo, it's 20 million people, and they like barbed wire a lot. And
I've seen photos. I've never been.
Thank God one of the staff from IRUM headquarters was with me, because you do need to navigate. I mean, I think Canada's pretty safe, but you get into some of those jurisdictions, you really need to know, especially where language can be a barrier, safety can be an issue. So we have membership in Russia, we have membership in the Ukraine. So we've been, we have South Korea membership. So.
And when you deal with stuff like Russia and the Ukraine, and looking at the global the tension that's going on there right now, martial law is being inflicted on top of Ukraine. The president of Ukraine put martial law yesterday, right, or last night.
Those countries we went to at that point in time, right? So we pick and choose.
There's just times where it hasn't been the staff are the glue and have to keep things going. What we've done to shift that, and the past leadership in the last few years, and certainly the 3 of us who are officers today, we really collaborate. So, we've started a journey, and we're looking at a number of things, and I think we're being a bit revolutionary, not evolutionary, in some of the things that are going to change. They're not going to take 1 year. So we actually collaborate as a team, because currently the president, is got 2019 ownership. I'll have 2020. I've got a fellow behind me in Alabama for 2021. We're aligned in what we're thinking. So it isn't about making your mark as president as much as doing the right thing for the Institute. And that's been a really positive shift for us. So
you almost have to set it up for the next person in line.
Right.
You do.
You do.
That's right.
And that's really where it's beneficial for the organization. If every time a new leader comes in, we're zigzagging, we're not going to get to where we need to go. So having them aligned is of real benefit for the organization, and for me, leading at the staff level, because then I can be assured what we're doing won't just be out of place in the next year. We actually can build on that. So for me, it's a delight, honestly, to be working with all of them, because they're aligned in that fashion.
Does the economy ever affect associations? I mean this in general for all associations. So is it a luxury item? Is it like if the economy tanked, do you guys tank, or do people gravitate closer to associations? And I've gone through lots of recessions, but I've never been close to an association to have them go, holy crap, this is really bad right now. Sponsors pull out, people pull out. Or do people rush into associations for camaraderie, for misery loves company, whatever or is it a runaway?
It depends on the organization.
Have you seen one go through?
I've seen one of them go through that, where the credential wasn't as impactful in the industry, and so it was more discretionary, right? So for us, what I've seen in the past, when I've looked at to see what if there is a recession or a dip, how do we deal with that? And 2008, about 10% decrease. So you have
That's
to
not that bad, considering North America was.
But I think you have to think of what Denise said, and that is, buildings have to run, whether they're vacant or not. And the biggest challenge is, if dues are being paid by an employer, that may be at risk. If dues are being paid by the individual, they're probably still working in the industry.
Right.
So a 10% dip was fairly significant for IRUM, but every association...
Doesn't sound that bad, considering back then the economy was crap.
Every
401ks were gone.
Right, at least 30%, 50%, right.
Yeah.
And in here in Canada, I mean, we just didn't have that tremendous impact on the real estate market that they did in the United States. So big difference.
And it's funny. I've had a few people talk about my radio show, the podcast that I do, and tell me that I get off track with politics a lot because I like politics.
I saw the Clintons last night.
Really? See that? I would like to do that.
Yeah,
right?
I saw Bill and Hillary.
Just for fun, right? And I know that historically, your president in the United States affects our economy. Not the NAFTA deal. I mean, sorry, and I mean this more on a political geographic level, more than a moment-to-moment change in legislation. I mean, so when you have a president that lasts 8 years, our economy has a tendency of surviving in fairly decent shape for the 8 years. The first 2 years of every new president, we have a bit of a kick in the nuts, for lack of a better expression.
Right.
And that kick is because everybody in the first 2 years they cut, they change, they're flipping things upside down. And if they make it to the second term, they have a tendency of sitting back and playing basketball in the White House and relaxing and just let everything run.
Are you telling me we're going to have 4 more years in the United States?
Yeah. So if Donald Trump doesn't make it in, so good or bad with Donald Trump, regardless, good or bad with any president, any leader, I think, and this is like you guys changing presidents every year, it's the instability that comes from the change. You said you have to live by somebody else's mandate. So when you change, even if you hate Donald Trump or love Donald Trump, or hate Obama or love Obama, the staying for 8 years is actually beneficial to the economy because really the truth is he runs out of power in the next 4 years, nor does he care. No president does. They kind of did their mandate. They actually got to live a bit of their mandate, and they ride out the storm, which, by the way, they leave a bunch of capitalists, a bunch of business owners, just to do their job. In the first 2 years, they seem to always want to change the tax rate, change the tax base, move things around, switch everything around on the table, and business people have to catch up to it.
Right.
And then we spend the next, hopefully, I'm not sure if I like Trump or don't like. I don't like change. As a business owner, I just want everything to stay the same, so I can
predictability.
I can learn how to live within.
I
can learn how to live inside those confines.
Right.
When somebody constantly flipping this table upside down, I'm constantly cleaning up somebody else's mess. As a businessman, you're chasing your tail half the time. I smell change coming for the U.S. I smell this president not surviving for another 4 years, and I could be wrong. I worry that if we change presidents, we're going to flip ourselves into a little recession. Do you guys see the same thing?
Well, I mean, we've had the longest bull run, right, for a long, long time. Almost ever, right? Next year it'll be the longest ever.
Yeah.
So there's going to be something. It just makes sense, right, from a market perspective. So.
And then you throw in a new you flip a president around, like timing for a recession, because that president's going to have to do something. Because they all do something.
Right. I think realistically we'll see something.
Sure.
I do. And how deep that's going to be, I'm not sure. But I know for myself, I look out and you look at scenarios and see how do you make sure you can maneuver that, and how do you prepare yourself for that? No matter if it comes or not, it's just good business practice to continue to do that. Do
you teach? And as a property manager, you said no matter what, the building's got to be run.
Correct.
But when there's no tenants and vacancies on the up, you need to know. Do you teach people how to manage that?
Well,
can you teach property managers how to manage that problem?
I don't think I've ever had a building with no tenants unless it's been a single tenant property. So maybe I've been fortunate in 38 years. I don't know. But I think what I would say is that the building still needs to be maintained. The building still needs to, probably someone's working really hard to lease it up. Still needs to be cleaned. The grass needs to be cut. The snow needs to be removed. Whatever. So, do
you teach essential services though? Like when a building's empty, then you go back. Okay, I need to teach them how to do essential services and how to critically think what's right and what's wrong, because the dynamic of that building, the ecosystem of that building is far different full than empty.
I don't think the ecosystem is that different, full or empty. I certainly, the demands on it, you may be able to do some things on a specific floor or whatever, but I don't think the dynamics change. I think what's changing for all of us, and we talked about it earlier, is, technology is impacting us, our labor force is aging. We need to think about how to move forward to, what is smart building, what is technology going to do for us. But, I said it this morning at a session, we have been constantly bombarded in our industry by change. And, you can talk about green buildings, you can talk about security after 9/11, what we learned through the blackout in 2003, Y2K, for God's sakes. We've had to reinvent ourselves through good times or bad times, through massive worldly impacts. And I don't feel that there's anything really that inherently different about managing in the downtime, other than you want to retain the tenants you have, you want to attract new ones, you've got to be service oriented, got to have quality folks. It's more important to be a really great manager in that time. And I think that's what everybody aspires to be, whether the building's 50% vacant or, it's full. So I maybe others would have a different view, but I don't see the fundamentals being that different.
Do you see in the future property managers being able to run multiple buildings by having drone launches at each building? I watched Cushman Wakefield has 9 drones now in one of their offices out in London, Ontario, and the drones actually map out their property for redevelopment property more than new real estate. But if you look at Marriott hotels in Japan, they have drones in hallways for security.
I think there's opportunities to utilize technology, but I think
Domino's Pizza's doing it for pizza. Why wouldn't property managers drive up and down the hallway in a drone, just watch by the TV, right?
Right.
There are mundane tasks that I think could be, and we could spend our time doing far more high value things. But I think people are starting to use real estate differently, and it's really, as I said, even at the session this morning, it's about experience. People are interacting with space today. It's no longer a passive, here's your box, here's your 10-year lease, come and stay in our building, and we'll talk to you in about 9 years about that. And yeah, we'll take your hot and cold calls or whatever in between. It's far more about the experience their employees are having, the kind of interaction with the community. That actually, to me, has elevated what we do in the industry, and it's created opportunities. We think about hospitality now. I mean, that's not something you talked about
Agreed.
a number of years ago in property management. So it is changing, but I caution people creating this fear that somehow technology is going to replace people. I just think people are going to accomplish doing things differently because of technology.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years ago, I let go of a bunch of people this year. Laid them off. Only because administratively we reorganized our company. Ironically, I ended up hiring 5 IT people for the 5 people that
Different skills.
Yeah, different
Right.
skill set. I mean, the employment won't change. I agree with you. I don't think the employment will change. I think what will happen is there'll be new employment created.
Right.
Right. And I think what was talked about today is there's that fear, but what I'm hearing is lean in, right? Lean into it and really educate yourself and train yourself so that you can be at the table and be viable.
And no fear of that change.
Correct.
Do not be scared that you're going to talk to your staff through a podcast.
Right.
Not in the boardroom.
Right. Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's
Exactly.
We had a really tough time doing this here. The show didn't want us here.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah.
They were a little concerned about social media and being, because we literally broadcasted on YouTube the entire day. Even off, we panned around and we left it live, and they were concerned about the security. Just the whole idea of it being here. Even when I told them I had you folks coming here, they said to me, "Why didn't you tell us?" And I'm like, "I don't need to tell you. It's coming to my booth." But they were very caught up in the whole podcast live.
It's a change.
Yeah, and that's all it is. I said to them, I would probably see Cheryl Gray here
anyway,
whether I was broadcasting or not.
Exactly.
Right.
But they got really caught up in that, and they've literally visited this booth 5 times today.
And I think that's the opportunity as leaders. Somebody asked me once, what's one word you'd use to describe leadership, and I said courage. And the reason I say that is if you're fortunate enough, or if you like being in leadership, you really have to have courage to stand by the convictions and know what is the right thing. And you're going to face opposition. You're going to have to accept some failures. But this kind of environment. I mean, even I said to our president, he said, "Aren't you doing that interview thing?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm doing a podcast." Okay, and I almost felt like saying, you do know what a podcast is, but then I thought I'm not going to insult him by asking the question. But it's we need to embrace change and technology, and I think we need to be cognizant of people's fear about privacy and data and all of that stuff. But there's a lot of positive impacts and influences that I think technology has on our work. I can only speak to the industry that I've been in for so long, my entire life. And I don't think it's replacing us. I think we need to embrace it. I think we need to be smart about it. But I think at the same time, it's no different. The property management, if I were to take you back to 1988 when I was building a building in Scarborough, and how it was being built and the technology we were employing, the things that we were doing, we will never do property management like that. So had I stayed in that era and said that's the way we should be doing it, Denise knows, I even say it for Iram, like the worst thing I hate hearing is, well, that's the way we've always done it.
I hate hearing
and
that
it's
too.
like, it kills me when someone says that. And it's like,
I get that at my shop all the time. My office, people say it to me all the
if
time.
it's the right way, that's fine.
I feel like saying,
but they just default, well, we've always done it that way. Well, I don't give a shit. It's like, do we want to do it that way? Yeah. Do we need to do it that way? Can we do it better? And I don't know. I like to look for the potential versus just
I tell people about that element of change, being scared of it. Mm-hmm. I always tell them, listen, make the change, have an escape route.
Right.
And it's okay if we, by the way, and I like failure, and it's okay if we run back to the old plan. Mm-hmm. So do some critical analysis. Tell me what it's going to be like to run down the street, and what's going to happen when it goes bad. Can we run back to this one?
Right, exactly.
Measure your risks, identify them, but don't be afraid to take them. And people are very scared about taking risks. The podcast thing, and you said it about your president maybe not knowing what a podcast was. I've had people walk here, and when I say we run a podcast show, they're, what's a podcast? I also have a lot of business owners, and unlike yourself, Cheryl, who are embracing that change. Even being on here, by the way, is really progressive. For our industry, this is massively progressive. It took Avison Young, the vice president, 3.5 months to get a decision whether they could go on a podcast or not, because I think they were unsure of what a podcast was. I have a lot of business owners though that feel that it may not be endearing to them coming on because it exposes them.
It's real though.
Sure, it's vulnerable, right? You're vulnerable, you're exposed, especially depending on the editing and what's going on. And I think people get scared that they're not going to show well, and they're seen wrong. That's what everybody's biggest fear with me doing in my organization. My staff and my senior management were all like, "Oh, you're going to make us look like an idiot." And I said, "Actually, I'm going to make us look vulnerable and human."
Human,
right? And that's what people want to see.
Don't they?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting.
And so the reality shows.
You think about Iram. So this year, what we've been thinking about is how to do things differently. And we had a situation where we actually have our current president having to serve 2 years. And normally there's a transfer of the gavel at our governing council, and it's all very formal, and everybody wears suits and ties. And so this year we said, can we just be a little more casual, at least drop the tie. Our president was, I got to wear a suit. And I said, okay, at least drop the tie. So we tried to make it a bit more casual. And what we did behind the scenes, because he was running this year as president, and then he has to take the reign again next year, which is unusual for us, but he is. And we actually did a massive life-size cutout so that we, on the stage in front of 600 of the governing council, the Secretary Treasurer and I ran and got this cutout and brought it up on stage and said, now you can hand the gavel to yourself, and everybody's kind of laughing. And it's that opportunity that
it's okay to be human. It's okay to be real.
And we're
it's okay to laugh.
We have opinions, and yes, there's a right way to express things, but to be afraid to look vulnerable and not do something, I don't know, has never been in my DNA. Right. I'd rather do something and go, wow, I really messed that up, than not try it all.
You learn. And now we dress him up in the office.
Yes. Now Don has the cutout. Now he's dressed for Thanksgiving, and we'll dress him up for Christmas.
Is it a full size?
Yeah,
full size
cutout.
Yes.
Actual.
He's wearing an ugly Thanksgiving sweater.
Where do you get those cutouts from?
I don't know. Our marketing person did that for. It was a brainstorm where it was like, oh, we should do this, and and again, it was a little bit out there for what was kind of the stuffy governance of the association.
Were you part of the workshops today? Were you part on the panel?
No, I
was
an observer. I was in the audience. Yeah.
What's the dumbest question you were asked today, Cheryl?
Actually, there were no dumb questions.
Was there nobody that asked
really
some stupid
engaged
question?
Audience. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's. I think for someone like myself who works in this, pretty much every day, I forget what the average person working out in the field is really aware of. And the questions were really good questions. And more importantly, there's a lot of challenges.
Do you think people are
adopting
scared,
it.
though, to ask you questions? You're a really powerful woman, eh?
You keep
A,
telling
by
me
the
that.
way, A is a Canadian. It's
I
not
know
the
that.
letter A. It's
I know it.
E-H.
A, yes.
Sometimes there's quotes on either side, depending on what you're trying to prove.
Got it.
Right. But you're a really powerful person. And do you think some of the people inside that workshop were scared to ask you a tough question?
I don't think
Intimidated?
so. I don't think
Oh,
so.
you're not intimidated by Cheryl.
No,
I know
No,
you're
she's
not.
not.
But there's a whole room of people. All right, do you know how many people, when I said I was doing a podcast with Cheryl? They were men, women, old, young. Can you introduce me?
Well, I know
Anyway, I
she's
can
a
get in touch with
powerful
her?
woman.
Oh,
Yes,
wickedly,
I know that.
wickedly powerful.
And intelligent.
Okay, no.
Intellectual curiosity. I love that. About
That's important.
Oh, right.
Key.
Critical thinking, intellectual curiosity is probably the sexiest quality in a woman. And my wife is that person.
But it's fun. Like,
Totally.
how boring would life be if we just did everything?
So don't you think those people in that room were just terribly vulnerable and scared to even say anything to you? And they were
Well, I
and they're-
wasn't the only one on the panel, so I,
who else
I
was on your
hope
Who
not.
else was on your panel?
You know what bothers me though is so many people have said, "Oh my God," like I was so scared, and it's like I've never bitten anybody, I've never beat anybody up.
It's
I'm
not,
pretty
though.
direct. You never leave a room wondering what I'm thinking, but you know
That is scary in itself.
It's scary to some people.
It's some people, yeah. I just, like I said, we work in an amazing industry. I've said it, in something that Denise and I were talking about. When you think of the influence we have as property managers, there's no built environment that we don't have an impact, whether it's a hotel, a hospital,
Everything.
an office
A
building,
house.
Everything.
where you shop, where you go to listen to
Fitness.
a concert. There's somebody who's responsible for that facility, your safety, your experience, your well-being. And think of how much influence you have. And we are, to me, the unsung heroes of real estate. You can build the buildings and you can be a broker and lease them, but those people who look after us day to day, who's there, 2 o'clock in the morning when something's breaking down or blowing up or leaking all over, they're the ones that are
A car driving
making
through.
sure. Right. So, I'm really proud to be part of that industry, and I give it everything I have because I think it deserves it.
New members, when they joined, are they, when they filled their application, are all applications accepted?
If they have,
No.
not all, no. They have to, right.
Is there a
because
criteria
there's
that a single person has to meet?
Yes, education, experience, managing a certain percentage of square feet. So there's definitely rigor behind it.
And if they had a tough time living up to your qualifications that you require, do you coach them through it, how to get there so they can get a membership, or you just push them into a lower level membership?
I know there's many members that mentor, individuals, new members. And so
I mean, the
on.
criteria for the membership is set, but the one thing that I would say is you can become a member as well, met all the criteria, but if you don't adhere to the code of ethics, we also have a governance that someone can bring a complaint against a member and it will go to our ethics hearing board. And
Do you get complaints?
Yes, we
Do you
get.
get complaints every year?
Oh,
Well,
yes.
you got a huge membership.
Yes.
A
number of
There's
complaints.
always going to be a couple of bad apples, whether you're a police force or you're Quadrille or Stadia or whatever. You're always going to have a bad apple floating around.
Right.
Do you
we get complaints.
Yeah.
I would never know because it's confidential. No. And we have an ethics
the
board.
ethics board is the
Right.
only one that has knowledge. They're appointed every year by the president, and
So there's a firewall.
all very confidential.
On an association level, and I call me naive, what kind of complaint do you get when you're with an association?
Well, I mean,
It can come from a client. So I've
Okay.
I was involved here in REIC because they have governance around the
Yeah.
ethics because they're charged with that responsibility. It can be a client who's complaining about fiduciary, impropriety. It could be a fellow member who's complaining about the business practices of another member. We've had complaints where someone who's representing themselves is a CPM, but they're not.
Right.
So
Really?
That happens.
Absolutely. So yes, so there's any variety of ways and any source that can come through.
Ladies, you both are rock stars.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I love powerful
You're
women.
a rock star too.
I wish I was. My wife says I am. That's all that
You
matters.
are.
That's
You
all
are.
that
all
matters.
We'll vote.
She runs retirement homes.
Oh wow.
Really?
So she knows it.
Her and her family own the Waterford retirement homes all over Ontario.
Wow. Awesome.
Barrie, Kingston, Belleville, a couple in Ottawa. They're building a $160 million, 500-room place in Ottawa right now. So they own them. They buy the land, develop it, own it, fill it, and try to sell it to the Chartwell Reeds or the Siennas once they get done.
Interesting.
Yeah, third-generation business.
Big space for it these days.
Yeah.
And my wife is the
Huge
COO.
She's a powerful woman. Well, all in her own
Tyrant.
right.
My sister's a Supreme Court judge, and she is a Superior Court judge.
You've
Sorry,
done
if I
well.
said, if I said Supreme,
You're
I'm going to
surrounded by it.
Oh, brutal, right? My mother was my father's CFO for 30 years, and she's a tough old lady, and she'd kick
What a
anybody's
great role
butt.
model.
Totally, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my daughter Alex and my other daughter, we all work together, but they're all. That's why I said to you before when we were talking about female discrimination. Around me, I'm surrounded by all these powerful women who don't talk about female discrimination. They talk about taking over the world. And
I vote for that.
I don't see it the way we had talked about your career. I've never seen it because I'm literally my own mother is. And she's 77 years old, brought up at a totally different time, is wickedly outspoken, wickedly powerful, courage, charisma, right? And then my sister and my wife, just everybody around me. I never see it. When you said that happens, I was so shocked, right? I mean, it wasn't just me. And you two are fabulous ladies, and I really appreciate you coming here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, the opportunity.
When are you inaugurated?
My inauguration will be in September of 2019 in San Francisco, and I will be the president for the year 2020.
And we'd love to have you.
Can I come?
You can come.
Can I?
San Francisco.
Can I record it?
September 23rd to 26th.
Let's talk.
I'd come if I
talk
could
for
record
the
it.
opportunity, yeah.
I always tell everybody if I can record something, I'll come.
Yeah.
That's my
Well, we should talk.
thing
Yeah,
right
we
now.
should talk.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I'm told that there's a few from Canada that plan to join, so it'll be fun.
I would go. My wife and I would come down.
That would be
Yeah,
We
we'd love to
we
have
do
you.
workshops in San Francisco. She does workshops in San Francisco and LA for retirement.
We're down the end of September.
Yeah, end of September.
2019.
26th and the 29th.
I want to visit Alcatraz.
You want to visit Alcatraz?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
cool.
Have you been?
I have been.
My daughter's been. I
Yeah.
never went. They were
Lots of
always-
cool things to do in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, there's so
Yeah,
much.
and it's September 23rd to 26th. And so good time of year to be there, and lots of things to do right downtown.
Right.
Do you have a website that people can go to?
Yes, we do.
What is your website?
iRoom.org.
Well, that was easy.
That's easy.
All right, now spell that because I spelled it wrong.
IREM.org.
See, I'm dyslexic. I
And
spell everything backwards.
Any questions? I'm on the website, so
Are you
people
really?
can reach
Are
out.
you the actual person that when somebody says, "Hey, can you help me?" Are you one of the
If
people?
they email me, I will answer them within 48 hours.
It's your rule.
All
my little plug.
So we in my office, we receive hundreds of phone calls a day because it's a central office. And we're hooking up an automated receptionist system, and I asked to be the zero. I'm the president.
That's brave.
It is brave.
It's very
so
brave.
but I asked
But
to say
it's great.
zero to reach the president. And yes, I can make boundaries if I wish to.
Right.
But I asked outright to be it, and it's a long way to get to zero. But I made zero for me.
That's
Good
great
for
'cause
you.
that
We're-
is-
I'm in the customer service business first and foremost.
Yeah.
If somebody, and not that I can actually help anybody get. Not that I have no power to resolve minor issues. That sounds bad, but I don't.
I don't either. I understand.
Okay, right. But I do have the ability to tell you how to get there
Right.
and who to
Right,
talk
definitely.
to and how to make it happen. And I decided to take it upon myself. I'm going to try it for 6 months because there's a lot of phone calls that come through. But I'm gonna try-
Let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you know I advertise my cell phone number on here and I don't get any rogue, weird calls. I do it all the time. I tell people my phone number all the time live on the air and I get full respect.
I have it on my business card.
And-
now,
and-
I
and-
don't
I-
have-
mine
yeah.
too.
My podcast is industry oriented, so there's about 10,000 downloads a month. And they're all property managers, a lot of property managers, general contractors and vendors. And I don't get abused. It's not like people are calling me out of the
Awesome.
book. Other than when they find out I'm with certain people or they know it's coming up, I do get the odd call from property managers
Right.
who want to be employed. I've become a bit of a headhunter by
You
accident.
Well, you're a good network.
Yeah.
Right, because
You have
I'm
an
not,
expansive network.
and I'm not a threat to.
You're not a competitor.
No, nor am I looking to sell anything.
Right. Exactly.
I'm really in this neutral land
Yeah,
now,
neutral
where
territory.
people can approach me. and stuff.
Switzerland.
You're a
I
connector.
am. That's all I am right now.
Right.
Which is in the last 10 months, it's been a great job.
Yeah.
change, right?
Yeah.
I want to come to San Francisco.
Yeah.
We'll
Come,
make
we'd
sure
love
you
to
know.
have you.
Are,
yeah.
are you now on more panels for the rest of the week? Or are you done your
I am
panel?
done. I'm done today. Yeah, I was kind of busy and took what I knew I could handle, and
Ladies, thank you so
Awesome.
much. I am Tim
Thank
Byrne. This
you.
is Tim
Thank
Byrne
you.
Almost Live. We are on YouTube still. I think Instagram died a long time ago. I think so.
Still live.
Is it still live? I
Oh,
love
wow.
that.
Wow.
We're going to edit this down for you, even though it's been going live. We're going to edit this down to a nice little package for you guys so that you can
Excellent.
take it and
Thank
run with
you.
it. It's actually
Great.
good for the Canadian market to see what Iron's all about and how it operates. and
Yep.
stuff.
Great.
That's
Yeah,
great. Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
the opportunity
Yeah,
again.
Thank you.
I love having
this
you on
was
the show.
great.
Actually, I'd like to have. We're off the air.
Are we
anyway, but
off?
I'd like to. I would like to have you on about a year from now when you become president.
Well, thank you. I would love to do that.
You're a great public